Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome to Captain Ken Fishing. I have had a few requests on how I tie the rope lures. It's not overly complicated. Gar are very simple creatures that will bite just about anything, particularly if it's white or flashy or especially live.
Yeah, I already got a video.
But we're going to try to trick them with a rope. These gar have a lot of teeth, and it's specifically the longnose gar that we're talking about. A lot of people get longnose gar mixed up with alligator gar. They think they are one and the same, and guys, they're totally different. I'm getting ready to go to Venice this Friday to Venice, Louisiana, and there are alligator gar that come through those canals where we're going to be staying, and I really hope I get to catch some of those, but I will not be fishing with this. I will be fishing with one of these catch the fever rods, and we're gonna have to put a big old bend in that with some cut bait. But I'm gonna show you guys how I tie this rope lure. There's 99 different ways that you can do it, but the first thing you got to do is you got to get a chunk of rope. Now, get the twisted nylon. Do not get the braided nylon. It's a lot harder to get apart. This twisted nylon, fairly easy. You just start unraveling it. It looks like this when you first get it. You just start unraveling it and get smaller and smaller pieces until you get down to something about like this, which is probably a quarter of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch even, small little pieces. You're going to get them all around the same length cut down, and then you are going to fold them over. And I like running them through a big swivel. Now, the biggest swivel that I could find on the shelf was this size swivel here. This size swivel came off of an old cast net, and that's what I really like to use, is the old cast net swivels, because there's a lot of weight to it right there. I'm not so much worried about it twisting up my line or anything. That's not why I'm using the swivel. It's just a really good piece that you can put one end through the swivel whenever you double this rope over, and the other end you can obviously tie to your line. But I have trimmed these pieces down here today. Already got it to kind of where we're going to start. And if you pull more apart, which I just did there, it's okay. What I'm trying to do is get them all somewhat the same length. It does not have to be perfect. But what you are going to have to do is you are going to have to be able to feed all these pieces through this swivel, either one at a time or bundle them up, burn the end of it, and then feed it through there. And I've probably got, that's probably 8 strands that are about between a quarter of an inch and an eighth of an inch thick. You want as many as you can in there, but it don't have to be overly packed. This piece right here is plenty. This is actually probably a little bit too much. The more you got in there, though, and the more we brush this out, as you'll see, the better off you're going to be. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take these pieces and I'm just going to feed them through this swivel. I could have done them one at a time, but I just went ahead and did it all. And then when I get them fed through that swivel, I'm going to double them up about like that, kind of make sure they're somewhat even, which some of them are, some of them aren't. Again, then that'd be perfect. And then what I normally do is I will take a piece of zip tie and I'll zip tie these things real tight right here. Once you get it zip tied, if you want to take a piece of heat shrink tubing and come over that zip tie and put it on like I did this one and get it kind of neat looking, that's pretty cool too. This particular piece right here, I did not put through the swivel, but this is the piece we're going to be working with today. All right, so you got your swivel or whatever. You got this thing doubled over. You just got to be able to get this thing tied back onto your fishing pole. And you can take a brush like this right here. Take a brush like this right here. First time I used my wife's hairbrush, she wasn't happy with me. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to start, well, I need to unwind these a little bit more. But all you are going to do once you get them unwound is you're just going to brush this thing out until it gets real fine, about like hair would. But the more you unravel them, the better you will be when you get ready to start to do this. So I'm going to do that now, and I will speed the process up and do the YouTube magic where we can get to this next step pretty quickly. It kind of helps if you do these things one strand at a time. You can get it a little bit more unraveled a little quicker than trying to do all of them at the same time. It reminds me of that verse that a threefold cord is not quickly broken, and they are stronger together just like we are. But individually, they will break apart pretty easily. For any of you mamas or daddies out there that know anything at all about hair and brushing it out, getting the tangles out or whatever, you might know something I don't. So help me out if you know a trick. But for me, it's just repetition. Just taking your piece of rope and brushing it out. And I'm actually using the bristle end now. I've got my other end was not quite pulling it as quick as I liked it. So we hurrying this process up a little. If you were trying to do this with a piece of nylon that was braided, you would be pretty frustrated with it. So when you get a piece of rope, make sure that it is twisted, not braided. All this is small little individual pieces that are all just twisted up over and over and over. Yeah, that's starting to look right there. That's the way it's supposed to look right there. Yes, sir. All right, once you do all those, and then you start pulling those together and doing that, the whole thing starts looking better. So it's starting to take shape. It's getting kind of feathery, kind of floaty. And that's what it did look like a minute ago. So we're going to unravel this one. Do the same thing. This may be a boring video to some of y'all. So forgive me if it bores you, but I'm just doing what I've been asked to do. Got a friend of mine, Brian Stone, and I've seen some of his. He gave another friend of mine, T.R. Clark, fishing with T.R. He gave T.R. a few when T.R. took him fishing one time, and y'all, his lures look jammed up. They look real. They look very good. You can take, when you get this thing completely finished, if you really want to get bougie with it, you can take some of that dip that you put on your lures, the chartreuse color or blue or whatever color you like, and dip the tip of this thing in it to just give it a little bit more bling. But seriously, when you're targeting the gar, number one, you're not blindly casting at them. You're actually looking for the gar swimming around in the area, and then you're going to try to get as close to it as possible. They get kind of spooky, particularly the big ones do, but when you see them, you can get fairly close. And I'm sure you've been fishing before where you saw them pop up just right beside the boat and you've thrown a rattle trap or something like that at them, and they'll pretty much bite anything as long as it don't run away too terribly fast. But they're pretty easy to catch if they are in the area and you can target them, and you throw this particular lure just past them and sort of intercept where they're headed. And if you can get this thing just in front of his nose, about 6 inches or so, and just sort of pause it and pop it a little bit, he can't stand it. He cannot stand it. And he will bite it. And you don't set the hook. You do not set the hook whenever you are fishing with this rope. You literally just start putting heat to it once he swims off with it, because he will bite it and spit it out, bite it and spit it out. And when he bites it, you kind of want to put a little bit of tension there, so he'll sort of thrash around. Once he's got it, the more he thrashes around, the more tangled he's going to be. And then when you finally do get him in the boat, the hard part is to get this son of a gun out of his mouth at that point, because they get so tangled up in there. What would really work well is a metal fork or some sort of something like a eating fork, and to rake this thing back out of his teeth, because those teeth are barbed a little bit, and they're a mess. I've got a gar skull over there. I'll see if I can show you what this thing's going to look like in its mouth here in a minute. But I'm brushing a little bit, and I'm unraveling a little bit, and I'm brushing a little bit more. We got several pieces in here that are still pretty twisted up. And I've learned that as you untwist them, they start to brush out pretty well. So that's what we're trying to do, is just untwist these guys. And I don't know where you are in the world watching the channel on YouTube, but here in Midwest Georgia, the gar are on fire right now. The water temperature is well over 90 degrees. I don't know if my graph was playing tricks on me the other day, but it said 98. I think that might be a little bit warm, but I do know that the water temperature is in the mid to low 90s, pretty much on most parts of the lake today, on West Point Lake. And down on, I know I was on Lake Harding July the 2nd or July the 3rd, and my goodness gracious, it was hot that day. That water temperature was well up there. Reached your hand over the side of the boat, and it literally felt like bath water. But when the water temperature is that hot, gar are coming up, and they're staying out of that thermocline, and they're coming up and they're gulping air, particularly early in the morning. You'll see them out there a lot. But we are getting there, slowly but surely. All right, so it's starting to, that right there is fishable. The more you brush it out, the better it looks, but that right there will catch a fish. And when you get this thing wet and you dip it in water and it sops up all that water, this thing gets pretty heavy, so where you can cast it fairly good ways. You do not need leader. You do not need a wire leader or anything like that. Gar can and will cut mono. They absolutely can, and they will. But really and truly, I tie this straight to my line. If you wanted to use a small wire leader, you can. But I don't know. I just feel like it deters the bite a little bit. This swivel here helps a ton when you put that on there. And I saw an old GON video where a fellow that I knew growing up named Buddy Perkins, he took a Clark spoon and he would hook that Clark spoon right where that piece of zip tie and run that Clark spoon right through that. And that way it'd give him a little bit more casting distance. And it also put a little bit of bling in front of this thing. Like I said, those gar absolutely love something that is shiny, guys. Anything at all. But all you do is just brush this thing and brush this thing and brush this thing. The more you brush it, the more it'll kind of come together and start looking more unified, but it don't have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect. I think I'm gonna call this one done. And I am gonna go find me a spoon. And I don't need a hook from that spoon, but I just need that spoon to tie this thing to my line. And anyhow, that's it, guys. That literally is it right there. You can get a gar skull over here and show you what it looks like. All right, so here's a few of these skulls that I've made over the years, and this is a pretty cool process right here. That's a pretty small gar, but you can see the teeth in this thing. I mean, they are vicious. And as this thing grabs that lure or that rope, it cannot. I mean, it pulls tight. So literally, that is it right there in a nutshell. I mean, this is your gar. And now you got to get that sucker out of there. Thankfully, he didn't thrash around too much, but that nylon absolutely will hold him. And here's one that my son did. He did some hydro dipping, and we dipped one of our mounts. And then this gar right here is considerably bigger. I mean, that thing right there, that's a pretty darn good gar. And it's not even as big as the lake record my buddy's wife caught from my boat back about 2023, maybe. But April Waldrop put a 23-pound gar, which I genuinely think there's been bigger gar caught, but we measured that gar that day, saw that there wasn't a certified gar that had been recorded and weighed from the GON record books. So we gave him a call and got the thing processed and put in there. But this was a really nice gar. I'd like to have known how much he weighed. I'll throw a picture up for you here. My dad caught this thing down in the Chattahoochee. But this is it right here, guys. This is your rope lure. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you like the channel. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Channel's growing. Thank you so much for your support, but a lot of viewers are not subscribed. So if you will, just go down there and smash that subscribe button. And if you like this video, share it with somebody you know. Appreciate you guys. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Catch you on the next one. Oh, jeez. That's cool.